And so I just want to introduce you to him, and we'll just talk about how I met Lee and how we met each other. And so, first of all, Lee, just tell me about yourself and tell me about Xenith Solutions.
Sure. I'm an Air Force veteran. I did 8 years in the Air Force. And when I got out, I taught myself IT and quickly got introduced to government IT work, really as a storage engineer and implementing complex DR and COOP architecture, storage architectures for a lot of 3-letter agencies. And worked for a small business that I helped grow. And at about 8 years, we took it to market. And I was part of the team that took it to market. We sold it to a large company, L3. I managed that business unit and 2 others. So about a little over $250 million in revenue I was managing. And then we sold the overall business unit, NSS, to CACI. And at that point, I went to another small, helped them position and go to market. And then I went to private equity-backed platform where we acquired 5 businesses, bolted them together in the government IT defense contracting space. And that was the first time somebody told me I needed to read a book called Traction. And I had all these different companies, different cultures coming together that we needed to get focused. And so at that time, there was no conference, there was no implementer that you could have come in, there was the book. And so I started to take different parts of that book and apply that to managing that as about a $500 million business, and loved the principles, really helped bring structure to that business. Not being the CEO of the overall global business has some challenges. So I was a little limited in what I could do. From there, we sold that piece, and in 2019, early 2019, myself and 3 other partners decided to start our own defense contracting business. And so we started that in 2019, and we're sitting now, January of 26, just under 100 employees. We are in over a dozen different states. So it has been a challenge in that even though we have a main office, very few people are there. Everybody's work from home or working on a government site. And we've grown really fast in this business space, supporting both the civilian market as well as the defense markets. And so at that point, I would say about a year ago, we were looking at a company to acquire. We'd already bought a company and added them in. We were looking at another company, and that CEO had mentioned he was implementing EOS, or had implemented EOS in his business. And it just brought everything back that I had worked before. So myself and one of my partners got a hold of the book again and read it. And I went to the conference and knew immediately, like, this had to be implemented in our business for us to successfully scale. I would say I knew from experience over the years, over the past almost 30 years in industry, I knew the challenges going from, a few people to 50 people to 100, being a service disabled, veteran-owned small business, and then pursuing prime contracts, then graduating full and open and competing. I knew those challenges, but getting the entire company on the same page was a challenge because of how widely dispersed we were. And going back through Traction again just laid that foundation of how to get everybody on the same page behind a single mission, a single vision. So it's been great. We've implemented it and have been running full speed for 8 months now.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. It's been awesome working with you guys. And so when you decided to start, you're going to implement EOS in your practice, and you always have options to self-implement or just hire an implementer. So talk to me about your decision making there and how you actually ended up picking me.
I think it's really two separate questions for us on would we want to self-implement or bring somebody in general. And for me, I really wanted to bring in an outside voice. There's four owners. Just personality wise, you have four different people. It's like Survivor. There's going to be there's going to be groups banding together and things like that. So really having an outside perspective to help break some of the gridlock or just to provide another point of view was important. The other thing was, as building a small business, you get so ingrained in the day-to-day and wearing so many hats, and that's really what happened to us. And we were not able to bring ourselves up and out of that. So having a third party, an implementer who can stand on the outside and say, look, that's not your job. You need to come up a level. You need to come up 2 levels, and you need to look at the strategy. The first time we thought about 10 years out was when you sat down with us and asked us, that question. We really were operating month to month and in a 12 to 18 month cycle, I would say. Again, just because we were doing so much ourselves.
Yeah.
And then landing and on you and selecting you, I had gone to the conference. That was my first time going to an EOS worldwide conference. And my reticent of bringing somebody in, even though I knew we needed a third party from the outside, was government contracting is very rigid and very different from commercial business. The breakouts and the sessions during EOS Worldwide are phenomenal, hands down. Regardless of the business you're in, it's a great conversation. You learn so much. I brought so much out of it. One of the biggest things was profit works and applying a bonus plan to our team. That aligns with our VTO and our EOS strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had that concern that somebody would come in and not understand the government acquisition cycle, government shutdowns, all of these nuanced different things that commercial businesses don't deal with, and they have their own unique challenges. Like I don't think I could go to a commercial business and
Yeah.
guide them successfully. And so I filled out the form actually on the EOS website requesting an implementer, and had a great call and laid out my concerns. They were very receptive to my concerns. I didn't get every business is the same, don't worry about it. They were very receptive. I said, we want somebody who has government contracting exposure and experience, hopefully, and even preferably somebody that's been in the military. All the owners have been in the military. And you're one of the candidates came back, and we had that initial kickoff call. And you'd been in the military, you had worked in industry, you had worked for large companies, small companies, and so you really brought that well-rounded perspective. Again, we can get in the same trap of, well, this is how government contracting works, so we have to do that this way. And through our conversations, you've been able to say, but how about you look at it in a different lens? How about you take this perspective in trying to solve the problem? And so it's been better than I anticipated in bringing the structure that we needed to the business.
Yeah. And so since I think it's been the last 8 months, right, that we've been working together. Of course, I've seen you just in 8 months, the transformation, because, initially the struggle of being four partners, but it's healthy. You have a really healthy team, and I love that. And the fact is that you've been collectively together as a team, have that cohesiveness that's really working together. So thinking about the last 8 months, what have you kind of gotten out of it? I mean, you've talked a little bit about it, but from accomplished together, what have we kind of accomplished together, you think, last 8 months?
I think there's three big things that jump out to me. So one, and we haven't perfected it, still working on it, is
Yeah.
the employee hat, the owner hat, and the board member hat, right? So all four of us are employees. We have specific day-to-day jobs. All four of us are owners, and then all four of us obviously are in the board.
Okay.
And again, this is something we could not have separated and defined on our own. Just thinking human nature and personality, having your outside expertise coming in and helping us work through it over multiple meetings has been incredible. And that's a huge thing for us, just being able to run the business day to day.
Right.
The second thing would be bringing in the organizational structure around a defined vision of 1 year, 3 year, and 10 years, building out
Right.
that VTO. We thought we had a great culture set up, and statements about the company and things like that, but you really helped us refine that and align it specifically with our vision and our goals, right? And that's the big thing, is they all match up very nicely. And being able to now communicate that out to the employees and starting to get them on board has been great. Again, as we're getting ready to pass 100 people, having this structure in place has been huge. And it really feeds into the third thing, which is we needed to bring in a senior executive, somebody into the C-suite. We knew we had this need, and I don't think we would have found the right person or even have been able to attract that person without the work that we've done with you. And it was direct feedback that we got back from all the candidates that we interviewed. So it helped us really understand and be able to communicate what we were looking for from somebody.